Starlux, a new luxury airline that first took flight in 2020, has become an unexpectedly controversial topic in the traveler community. To some, it's the greatest airline on the planet, nothing short of extraordinary. To others, it has mediocre food, lazy crews, not to mention being unreliable. Then there's the whole YouTuber situation where a certain influencer who was flying complimentary first class on a media flight, who was personally friends with the founder and chairman, broke Taiwanese aviation laws on film by entering the cockpit on the ground, and the entire flight crew was fined.
Oh no!
So I know that no matter what I say, I am kicking the hornet's nest on this one. I'm gonna be labeled as either a hater or a shill. Look, I've been accused for years of being too negative, for constantly complaining, for being too cynical. So I think I've built up some critical credibility here over the years. Because you know what? I'm about to cash it in. This flight was fantastic. Yes! Nearly flawless. Seriously, one of the best flights of my life. I'm not saying that other reviews are wrong. Just that didn't match my experience, and I have some hypotheses as to why. I still have some criticisms, mind you, but they are minor nitpicks. So let's get to this review of Starlux Business Class on the A350. So, where are we going? Well, since I'm basing this whole trip on a song from Vietjet, let's see. So I'm actually flying to Osaka, not Tokyo. Close enough. I booked this ticket in business class for only 15,000 Alaska miles, which is an absolute steal. Alaska's pricing for Starlux is all over the place, from bad to downright atrocious, but for whatever reason, Taipei to parts of Japan, including Osaka, is 15,000 miles and $28, which for a 2.5-hour flight in what I will argue is one of the world's best business classes is an absolute steal. Any further within Asia, and it jumps to 50,000. Hello from Taipei! I'm actually starting my review a day early because I visited Starlux's flagship store. Here I did some shopping, but there's also a ticketing staff at what looks like mission control for booking Starlux tickets. In theory, you're able to buy stuff online and have it delivered to you on your flight, but I couldn't. This brings me to the first annoyance. Managing my ticket was a pain. Booking through Alaska was easy enough, but you can't manage it online through Starlux. Want to select a seat? Can't do that online. Want a special meal? Can't do that online. Order duty-free or even check-in? You get the idea. To select your seat, you need to either call in or use the chat feature. That's easy enough, but I did need to wait about 2 hours for an English-speaking agent to be available. And remember, it's on Taiwan working hours for the chat support. I started my day at an airport hotel with a beautiful view of the airport. Starlux operates 3 aircraft now, the A350-900, A330neo, and A321neo, each of which has a separate interior. One cool thing about the fleet is that the chairman, a former EVA 777 pilot, is type certified on each plane, and when passengers were stranded in Japan, he hopped on a red-eye on Jetstar and flew them back personally on an A350, though again perhaps violating maximum duty time rules. Still, it's odd launching an airline with 3 aircraft types where you don't have the same synergies. Another growing pain for Starlux are their gates. Most flights to Asia depart from Taipei, Taoyuan from Terminal 1, while flights to the US, Singapore, Thailand, and a few other random destinations depart from Terminal 2. This means double the ground staff and the need for 2 different lounges. At check-in, I was given a lounge card for the Plaza Premium Lounge. That's right, Starlux was explicitly telling me not to go to their own lounge. That's strange. I asked if the Galactic Lounge was open, and they said yes, if there was space. So, off I went. So the Galactic Lounge. I was greeted at the door, and fortunately there was indeed space. I was escorted to a specific seat. The lounge is incredibly small, and nearly every seat was taken. There aren't even restrooms in the lounge, which is always a bad sign. There was a buffet with both Western and Asian breakfast items, as well as various drinks. There's also a menu to order from. Early reviews of Starlux made a rather important discovery about the menu.
Hello, again, pork. Wow.
All 3 items had pork in them. Well, I've got no problem with that. Plenty of people don't eat pork or any meat. Fortunately, they've seemingly learned, as only 2 of the 3 items today had pork in them. I got the bowl of ramen, which you might not think of as a breakfast food, but hey, I found it to be not bad at all. I headed to my gate and got a view of today's lovely A350, the 3rd of this trip, and I was curious to see how it would stack up. Boarding started right on time. I think it's impossible not to be completely wowed by the interior. Starlux's A350 is the launch customer of the Collins Aerospace Elements Suite, an upgrade over the already great Super Diamond, and the lack of overhead bins in the middle makes the cabin feel incredibly spacious. Where to start? The screen. There's a massive 24-inch 4K screen, the largest of any business class. The footwell is even larger than other reverse herringbone seats, so you won't be constrained like on Turkish or regional Singapore. Seat controls are on a touch panel. The storage area is absolutely huge and boasts USB-A, USB-C, full power, and wireless charging. A smaller, shallow storage area are for cables and AirPods. Speaking of AirPods, there's Bluetooth connectivity, as well as some decent noise-canceling headphones. There's yet more seat controls and a 3-prong seatbelt. The seats are incredibly private, and if that's not enough, there's also a door, one of the largest and tallest on the market. This is also the first A350 with dimming windows like on the 787, but I found them to be far faster and more responsive. The seats aren't perfect though. You don't want to be in row 7 by the window or 8 in the middle. Your window is nearly completely blocked and you're just right by the restroom. The tray also shakes quite a bit, as we'll see. There's also no individual air nozzles. The first row are first-class seats that have even higher walls, but I just don't see the appeal. Nobody was sitting in any of them. We were given a hot towel, and I was offered some pineapple and guava juice. There weren't any amenities on this short daytime flight, but the flights to the US, there's an amenity kit, mattress pad, and even pajamas, putting Starlux up there with the best. Meal orders were taken on the ground, and you can also pre-order ahead of time online. Rather, you can, I couldn't because I couldn't manage my booking. The flight attendant only had 1 copy of the menu, but it was also available on the TV. There was a single Asian Japanese option, or the Western menu had 3 different options for entree. I also like how they show you each wine and where it's from, and I went for the Taittinger Champagne to start, about $60. Just look at the size of this drink menu. A few reviews complain that they don't explain what's in each of the signature cocktails, but look, here it is. Being a Taiwanese airline, they even have bubble tea. When taking my order, I was addressed by name, but the flight attendant butchered it. She apologized, scribbled some notes, and then she and the rest of the crew pronounced it perfectly every time. It was as if they had studied it. I know some of the reviews complain about the service being lazy, but I sure didn't experience that, and it was as good as on EVA for sure, i.e. some of the best. Then the Starlux safety video played. I've never seen a safety video quite like it. Seriously, just go watch it. I have no idea what whoever created it was smoking when they did, but I want some. It truly is out of this world. We pushed back, and the ground crew sent us on our way with a salute and a wave. Flying time to Osaka Kansai was 2 hours at 41,000 feet. After takeoff, the purser introduced herself, and like everyone, was very friendly. Wi-Fi is free for business class, and there's free messaging for everyone. My speed test wouldn't complete, but it was pretty slow loading content. The in-flight entertainment selection is very extensive, the moving map great, and you can picture-in-picture one in the other. Sadly, there's no tail camera. The meal started with my champagne, and the kaiseki meal was served all at once, likely to save time on this short flight. The main was miso halibut, served with multiple other small dishes, rice, and miso soup. If you aren't a fan of tons of fish, clams, and green tea tofu, this meal isn't for you, but I found it to be really wonderful. Kaiseki meals are about celebrating the harmony of different subtle flavors, not punching you in the face with flavor. I can see someone thinking this meal was bland, but it absolutely wasn't. I also suspect that this meal is limited to flights to Japan, in part for that reason. I switched to the Sci-Fi Cosmos 2.0, a revamp of their prior signature cocktail, with gin, lactic acid, and blue curacao. It was tasty and very strong. For dessert, there was a sweet potato cake and fruit, which I got with some jasmine green tea. I was seriously impressed with the taste and frankly sophistication of the food, and I really can't complain. But again, the tray. Look at this! I'm not even cherry-picking this clip. Then I engaged the final trick of the seat, Zero-G mode, supposedly designed in consultation with NASA. Okay, I get it, you really like the space theme here.
Space!
But it's no gimmick. The seat reclines but the legs are raised to mimic weightlessness, and I'll be damned, it really works. This was by far the most comfortable lounging position I've ever had on a plane. Sorry, Finnair, you got nothing on this. Far too soon than I would have liked, we began our descent into Osaka Kansai, and were given a mint. Kansai is literally located in the middle of the ocean on an artificial island, so it's always rather disconcerting on final approach when you think you're about to ditch. And while Starlux was playing their own landing music, I was here about to embark on my very own journey across Japan, so what I had playing in my ears was a song I think Mr. Affable himself would approve of. So Starlux. Yes, genuinely it is that good, at least on this flight. Yes! This is now my favorite business class seat in the world, caveating that I haven't flown on Qatar Q Suites or ANA's The Room yet. The food was absolutely top tier, and the service I found to be excellent. Why the negative reviews then? Well, I'm guessing that Starlux is trying to grow as fast as they can but running into challenges. I doubt the food catered in Los Angeles or San Francisco would be this good. The lounges need to be expanded, and they've had to hire a ton of crew and perhaps not all of them give the intended level of service. My only nitpicks were the difficulty in managing the ticket, lounge overcrowding, lack of a tail camera, and a shaky tray. And if that sounds like I'm struggling to find anything negative, that's because I am. Which, if you know this channel, you know is truly something unprecedented. Compared to the other, absolutely fantastic flights I've had on this trip so far on Turkish, Singapore, and EVA, I honestly feel like Starlux takes a commanding win. Like I said, I know people will not like that. In fact, there's no way any other airline on this trip could possibly top Starlux. Okay, that's not fair. So while I indeed did journey across Japan, and partially by bicycle, I really relied on one of the most legendary trains in the world. I'll see you next time for the Shinkansen.